Okay, I've now built that circuit. That's the one I spoke about in the last video. Just because I had nothing else to do for half an hour and it decided that or decorate the house. And the system is now running, so my modifications to the previous system are just in there. Let's get a new camera. There's a little black thing you can see between the white wire and the orange wire. That's a diode across the switch. And I've now taken the output from the capacitor, which is there, and the orange wire feeds back to the one side of the coil, which is effectively the battery through the white wire, and the other side is then fed up to the other side of the battery along another piece of wire. So on this side of the diode nearest us, you can see now two wires, one going to the battery and to the switch, and the second orange wire then running away to the left, which is the one that's going to the basically what was the capacitor is now installed across the battery. So there's actually a piece missing on my circuit, I've just realised, and the piece missing is that the output of the rectifier previously went to the capacitor, so the capacitor is now effectively, well, actually I could put it in here, I could draw it just here. Okay, that was the original position of the capacitor. Okay, so electrically that's now across the battery. Now in theory, if that capacitor is of sufficient size, which mine obviously isn't, you shouldn't, once the machine's running, be able to disconnect the battery and the machine should carry on running. I suspect mine won't because, well, I know the capacitor's not big enough to keep the thing running anyway, but also I'm not entirely convinced of the probity of this system. However, having said that, looking at the meter here, let's see what that's doing. This is measuring the battery volts, and it's fluctuating, and the motor's been running for about 5 minutes now. It's been hovering around 4.25, it went down to 4.19 at one point. You can see that it's occasionally peaking at 4.4. So I guess the jury's out as to whether or not this thing is actually recharging the batteries with energy from the ether, or 0 point energy, or whether or not these fluctuations are normal and it's actually just a variation of the speed of the motor that's causing it. But it'd be interesting to run the thing and see for how long it runs. The battery is now powering the motor and the coils are now, the back EMF from the collapsing field are being fed back directly to the battery. There's no other losses in the circuit, the meter's not taking any current at all, so we won't worry about that. And we'll just monitor the battery voltage over a period of time and see if there's a trend. And in normal circumstances the battery should be slowly discharging, and after half an hour or an hour the battery will be completely flat. These batteries weren't new when I started, they were quite old batteries, and there you see it peaked up there to 4.4, did you see that? So, whilst I am the utmost sceptic, I do believe now that I'm feeding back any energy there is in the system, and if there is such a thing as 0 point energy, and it does exist, that's being fed back into the battery right now, and this thing should run forever. So we shall see. But I like the circuit. Thank you, Mr. Skeptic33, for your comments. That was a really neat idea, and we'll just wait and see what happens.